Wilbur Sargunaraj.
What's happening here is really, really amazing. Even though there is a lot of racism that is happening here and a lot of tension between the settlers and the First Nations, it is so beautiful to see communities coming together. Just like today, for a lot of Canadians, First Nations people, for them, they can have a bias towards them. And this is the first step in reconciliation, or reconcili-action, as I would like to say, taking the steps to connect with one another. What do you tell people, the people who are watching and people who you know, who, and I want to just put this very, just bluntly out there, what do you tell people who hate you? Who've never connected with you, but still hate you?
It's all good. I know where it comes from. Hate comes from fear. I know what it's like to be scared. I have been beaten for being brown. I have been jumped by 4 men, kicked, my head kicked, saying, "Kick that effing Indian's head in." I know what it's like to walk around and to have people from another race and to feel scared. But I did not hate them. And this is just where I'm coming from, that I know how easy it was, and I wanted to. Oh, did I ever want to? I really wanted to. And so for those who don't like me, well, I'm going to keep loving you. And if you need help, I'm going to help you. If you're stuck on the side of the road, I will help you. You might not like it, but this is where it begins. So those who are brave enough, it's a safe place. But that's why I say I know how difficult it is to make that step into a place where you are the minority, because this has been my whole life. I have been beaten, but still had to make that first step into a room where I was the minority. This has been my life. So to anyone who walks in here, I give them a hug, because I know they're brave, and I applaud that. It's one step at a time, one person at a time, one conversation at a time, one handshake at a time, and that is the answer. So,
my friend, you are a simple superstar. Ray Funk is so nice to. That's okay. You can take your. That's right. No
pull up my pants.
Yeah, I'll do that too as well. My lungi pants. There we go.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to
pull
meet
in
you.
my tummy. Yeah.
And me too. There we go. Pleasure to meet you. It is so beautiful to be here on Treaty 6 territory here at Spruce River. Can you tell us just a little bit, really briefly, about what Spruce River Folk Festival is all about?
Basically, it's about reconciliation. We have history has left us a lot of unfinished stories of injustice and things that happened that shouldn't have. One of which is the young Chippewayan lost their land at Laird, where subsequently Mennonite and Lutheran settled, and there has never been either recognition or compensation for what happened there. So we work in solidarity with the young Chippewayan First Nation to try and bring about justice.
Thank you so much. Rumba nandri. That's how we say thank you in my language.
Okay.
Nandri.
Yeah. Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. Bitteschön.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see a nice crowd again, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for helping with this cause. That's about all I have to say.
Okay.
Wilbur, he told me how to pronounce his last name, but said I didn't have to. So I'm going to let him do that for you if he wants to.
Just say sucker. Can you say sucker like lollipop? Sucker in a garage. I said it really fast. Yeah, that's my last name. You got it. That was easy, right? Wilbur, sucker in the garage. Here we go, boing, boing, boing. Boing, 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 with the bunny in the belly. Boing, boing, boing. I love my bunny child. And what's very interesting, though, is that Treaty 7 came into effect in 1877, and 100 years later, in 1977, Wilbur Sargunaraj was born, on the 7th day of the 7th month of 1977. I love number 7. You guys don't realize I'm actually part Mennonite. I spent 3 years in a Mennonite Bergthaler community, and I had the Marashlopes. You know what Marashlop is? Oh, yeah. I had FASPA. You know the FASPA? Huh? Yeah. I'm like part Mennonite. I mean, just don't let the color deceive you at all. Like, I mean, so, and I even spoke a little bit of Lower German. Hey, schmucka heine Bein. So what's really interesting is that I was never, in that community, I was never taught anything about First Nations, about Indigenous people. It really was, and this was, like, we're talking the early 90s, there was a divide, and it was them and us. And that's how I grew up in high school. I had an unconscious bias, just like my Mennonite friends had a bias towards First Nations people. Ladies and gentlemen, I lived 10 minutes outside just from Saskatchewan. For 3 years, I was never taken to that place. And that really, really grieved me as soon as I found out and educated myself on the history of Canada. The elephant, the lion with the spotted leopard, it can jump and rhinos get buffalo with horns on their. Everybody sing together. These are the big five my safari guides said. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Did you know we have someone named Safari in our midst today, right, brother? Stand up, Safari, ladies and gentlemen. You should have been up here, brother. One more time. La 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 la. Come on. La 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 la. Simple, super. And so I would encourage us all to take steps towards reconciliation, to take those initial steps. And it might be painful for some of us. And you may know people, for you it may not be, but you may know people who it might be painful for. But to encourage them all to start the simple thing of engaging with your other, someone you feel that is different than yourself. And it doesn't have to be First Nations, it could be anyone. You may have a bias towards someone from Africa, someone from India. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. Border to the left, border to the right, border in the sky. Everybody say! Border to the left, border to the right, border in the sky. Everybody say! Border, border!
So while you're here and making your home here in these lands, don't forget about why you're here and how you got here. It was through treaties. Respect one another. Respect our First Nations culture, respect non-First Nations culture, be open-minded, and learn how to love unconditionally, and stand up against discrimination. When you see something that you don't like or you know that's going to hurt someone else, and don't tolerate it, speak out against it, and having courageous conversations, because it's not always easy to talk about bad things that happen. And we have to talk about those things. We have to build partnerships, and we have to continually share our stories. And by sharing that knowledge, sharing history, that's how we educate each other.
Build bridges, not walls.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for entering into my world, and I'm so glad I got to enter into your world today. Thank you so much, Roman and Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this wonderful, wonderful experience being here at the Spruce River Folk Festival. The coming together of settlers and First Nations together is so beautiful. And that starts when we take steps, reconcili-action, when we take action and enter into the world of the other. Roman and Lee, go out there and be culturally intelligent, simple superstars.
Wilbur Sargunaraj.